No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. And today, having to sit down with a very hilarious human being by the name of Ali Saddiq. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, brother. How you?
Good. Good to have you in here. I've been enjoying watching some of your interviews and stand-up and everything like that, and happy to sit down.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. What's going on? What brings you to Los Angeles?
I had a show at the United Theater on Broadway on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Definitely. What do you think of LA?
Meaning?
Just, as a person who's, lived around and traveled a lot and stuff, like, I mean, I feel like I've just read so many, different politicians and people shitting on LA for the last couple of days because of these riots that we've been having downtown. It just makes me wonder, how do you view it?
Well, my family lives here, so I have a huge family here, so I don't get into the Hollywood part of LA or the rioting of I just go with my family at Inglewood and Pasadena and Compton.
Yeah.
that's not happening there. So
yeah, that's the weird part about it is I'm just like reading people telling me all about what LA is all about. And I'm like, it doesn't really sound that familiar, but I mean, I'm somebody who lives, 5 minutes from Hollywood Boulevard and absolutely never goes there ever.
Yeah, I think that people don't realize that LA is broken up. I think they get Hollywood confused with LA.
Yeah.
It's two different things most of the time.
Yeah, because if somebody wants to tell you all their favorite negative stereotypes about LA, it's all like the people are fake. Everybody here is just trying to make it. It's all very transactional socially and whatnot. But if you actually, talk to people who are from here and didn't just move here to try to make something out of themselves, you get a very different impression.
Huge difference between the Hollywood people and people who from here and live here and thrive. It's a lot of regular people that's not trying to be stars. Like, no, I decided to be an electrician. Mm-hmm. And that's what I do. I'm from Compton. I'm an electrician.
Right.
I don't do nothing in Hollywood.
Well, it's always weird when you have conversations with people from like other cities because, a guy from Atlanta will have like a little bit of a feeling that he wants to make it by making it to LA. And it's like, well, you have a very rich, beautiful culture right here in Atlanta, but it's not juxtaposed with the music industry and the entertainment industry being right there side by side.
I think Atlanta is like that now. It's like a southern.
It's growing into
LA.
that a little bit, yeah.
They grown. It's not like Houston. Like we straight. Like we don't care what's going on nowhere else. We Houston.
But so many times when I interview somebody from Texas, they do kind of have that feeling of like, there might be some shit going on, but it's not the level of industry that LA has. So people feel like they got to make it out of Houston to really make it in their career or whatever. But you don't feel like the average person feels that way?
Texas and Houston is different.
Right, yeah. Texas obviously gigantic.
Yeah, we huge. We got two different time zones, and somebody from somewhere else may feel like they need to go somewhere else to make it, but not Houston. Mm-hmm. It depends on what you're trying to do. You don't have to leave Houston to be a great rapper. Mm-hmm. You don't have to leave Houston to be a great comedian. If what you're trying to do is in Houston. Mm. You can make movies in Houston. You can do whatever you want to do in Houston. Now, Dallas is growing. Now, Dallas is getting that same concept. But we the home of the independent. Mm-hmm. So industry not really our thing.
But that must be weird for you being a lifelong Houston resident, and obviously it's Austin, it's not Houston, but like seeing it almost becoming like cliche that like, no, this is where all the comics move now.
To Austin?
Yeah.
I think that's a LA thing.
Well, like LA transplants for the most part.
We don't think about Austin. When we talk about comedy in Texas, Austin doesn't come up.
Really?
Who's from Austin?
I have no idea.
That's the thing. And then what does Austin have that Houston hasn't had for the longest?
Right.
Or Dallas?
I couldn't really tell you when it comes to comedy. Like my perception of comedy in Texas for sure is entirely based on Joe Rogan moving there and then his various sycophants following him.
He's the LA guy that that's from here. That's like what we just talked about. Somebody's perception of California is Hollywood.
Yeah.
But we've had huge comics come from Houston and from Texas, so way before Rogan got there.
Right.
Sam Kinison was pretty big. Thea Badai was pretty big. Bill Hicks and guys from Dallas. We've had a rich culture. And then it was acting and great actors that came out of Austin before anybody from LA moved there. We was having a festival in Austin. It's been comedy clubs, great comedy clubs from Houston to Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, long before the mothership was built. We have a rich history of comedy in Texas.
Right.
Especially Houston.
But does it feel like it's changing in any way? No.
Not for me. I wouldn't feel it anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What's changing is people thinking that Austin or these new guys in Austin are the
end all be all.
Like, and we just sit back and look like, oh, okay.
Right.
It's still Houston's first, Dallas second, Austin third. Then San Antonio and Waco fill in where they can, El Paso. Like, who's from? We like the best one out of Austin is a guy named Bryson Brown. Who else is from Austin?
Right. Austin was always kind of like because I grew up as a BMX rider, and we always looked at Austin as like the place down south, especially. Like that's where you wanted to make it to, because there was so much. Yeah, there's just now there's a bunch of skate parks and shit, but back then it was more just like, I don't know, this was like a cultural hub for us. That was like one of the first places I was excited to go when I really started traveling.
I think Austin people would probably be pissed if people put that movement over South by Southwest, which has been happening for over 20 years.
Which is canceled, by the way.
Which is crazy.
It's done. That's crazy. Yeah.
But South by Southwest Austin is known for bands, having great bands and a bar scene.
Right.
And South by Southwest was huge.
Yeah.
You wanted to make it to South by Southwest.
It's kind of sad to see it lose its cultural relevance that it kind of used to have. Like,
what happened?
I mean, I feel like in a lot of ways that they kind of get compared to something like Rolling Loud or all these big music festivals, and it's just not that. Like, clearly most of these venues are meant to contain like much smaller shows and everything, and so I feel like in a way, like, it's just, I don't know, it just kind of got marginalized by a lot of the competition. Is that like I sent one of our guys who works for us to do a video out there this year, and he said that it definitely felt like a lot of the enthusiasm has kind of been sucked out of it. Because I actually worked doing security for various 6th Street bars in 2008 when I was out there riding BMX. I had a friend who basically got me locked in to like work for $10 an hour doing security at that point. And man, there was a lot of energy in the air, and it feels like it might not necessarily be the same as it used to be.
Okay, so you just saw the clip, but did you know that you can watch this entire interview right now before it's released to the public, uncensored, by becoming a member for just $5 a month? And there's a lot of other crazy benefits as well. So make sure you hit the link down in the description and sign up. Appreciate y'all.